Okay, so good morning, guys. Thanks so much for joining us, and appreciate all the small businesses are doing right now, and certainly appreciate the City Council of Delphi and the Mayor and the Town Council of Flora and Jake. So, um, there's still a lot of businesses that haven't heard anything out of the SBA for those EIDL loans. I've heard of a couple getting their PPP loans, but I know it's pretty quiet right now still. So anything you guys can do locally is really appreciated. So Jake, do you want to tell everybody what's going on that Town Council of Flora is offering?
Yes, thank you, Julia, so much, and we appreciate the opportunity. You know, I think, and Mayor Evans would agree. Just trying to fill in the need. We understand the framework of what's going on, and it affects us locally. And so, just being able to do something and have the ability to do something, I think, is the best part. So, putting this together. Essentially, we last council meeting we approved $200,000 of our edit funding to be utilized towards small business loans. So the goal was we appropriated the money already. It was in the budget to be used towards economic development, and we thought there's no better way for this to be used now. The town of Flora is financially healthy. We understand the impacts that we're going to face, and I think after some analysis, we realize that we can weather this storm and still provide an opportunity for the employers within the town of Flora to get some help if needed. So, because we understand that some of this isn't done by the pandemic or COVID-19, that some of this is policy that's affecting it, and so it'd be unfair for us not to provide policy back to counterbalance some of those restrictions that our employers are facing. So essentially, we'd released $200,000 to be used towards capital for an employer. We're asking that as a 1% return on the loan, and so basically, we're allowing employers to apply for up to $10,000 of the $200,000 to be used for capital. So it'd be a fixed 1% for a period of 5 years. Relatively, we wanted to make it payment friendly because we know the carrying cash is low, and this allows you to be able to fit that into the budget. I mean, for coming together in a week or so, as our fellow legislators on the state and national levels had to put something quickly together, we felt like this was the best fit to not try to be dual redundant, but just provide a quick access to cash. So we're looking at, the applications are due Friday. So we want to make this, and we're not closing the timeline to limit to applications, but we understand the employers that need this information and need this access to cash. If they need it, they want it now, and we don't want to extend an application period to draw that out. So applications can be picked up by at the town clerk. You call the town offices. We are closed, but if you call the town offices, we can get you an application. I can leave digital forms of the application for you, Julia, if there's any members in the town of Flora that want to get access to that application. And then my contact, Daryl Yoder, Ben Seward, their information you can reach them as well for just some more details. We did form a committee, but total authorization will be done obviously by the town council for the amount. So do you mind if I go into a little bit of the detailed checklist, Julia, to talk about?
Yeah, that's fine.
All right. So essentially, we're going to need identification, W-9. One of the things that we didn't want to, we were trying not to create a bureaucratic nightmare. Because we trust our businesses and we trust our employers. So we will require current status with the Secretary of State so that we can verify that you are an employer and that you're in good standing. So it doesn't have to be a certified letter, which usually takes a couple weeks. The goal, like I said, is to get this, get access to capital quickly locally. So we'll need number of full-time employees, part-time employees, employees at the date of application. Maybe you've already made some cuts, so we want to be aware of those. Uh, we want you to explain in writing how your business is affected, how your existing needs are consistent with the purpose of this loan program. I will tell you, it is a subjective process. So, and to be fair to the taxpayers, we wanted it to be that way. So also just share some basic information that the committee needs to know, the town needs to know about you and about your business. So really, we just want to make sure that you're in good footing to be able to take the loan and be able to pay it back. And that's really the premise of this information. So it's a 1.5-page application, so something relatively simple. So any questions?
So will you post it to the town's website, or just maybe we can send it out for people and put it on our channels if you send me the application?
Yeah, we'll go ahead and do that. I don't, I'll pass it through to get it on the website, but just hand-to-hand, well, I say not hand-to-hand anymore, but direct email dissemination is what we try to do.
Okay.
We do want to make it easy to apply, but so I agree that we need to make it accessible, but just the mere, if there's a need, then we want you to be able to know where to go. And we really want you to call the town office, get an application, get it sent to you or yourself, Julia, and the chamber, so we can kind of triage those applications and get those turned around as quickly as possible.
Okay.
Jake,
Okay, perfect.
this might be kind of a silly question, but is this just for businesses in the town of Flora then?
Yeah, not a silly question at all. Yes, so this would be directly, if you're addressed, I would say if your nexus or your primary business base is located in Flora, then you would be able to be qualified. So great question.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Jake, are you limiting it to the town limits? Is that how you guys are going to maybe try and work on those, or anybody that has a Flora address?
I think we'll base that off of where your main business hub is. So if you have a headquarters in Flora, but you do business out and serve other communities, then that's something that we'll accept in the application process.
Okay.
So yeah, even if you have franchises, or if you have multiple businesses, but one of them is located within Flora, those would be acceptable as well, because we want to help you, even though you have your other services and assets outside of Flora as well.
Okay. Okay. I know, and this question will be for Shane also. So Shane, why don't we go ahead and turn it over to you to talk about what the city of Delphi is doing.
Sure, thank you, Julia. The city of Delphi on Wednesday of last week approved up to $198,600 to be disseminated in the form of grants with a maximum award of $5,000 to each business. So if you're a business owner that has 2 or more businesses within the city of Delphi, you can apply for a grant for each business with a maximum award for each business of $5,000. The business has to have a brick and mortar store or primary location within the corporate limits of the city of Delphi, so not just a Delphi address, but actually within the tax base of the city of Delphi. Businesses have to be in good standing regarding taxes, the Secretary of State. They've had to have been operational within the city of Delphi since at least January 1st of this year. Trying to go through the list. They've got to have 25 or fewer full and part-time employees. And then I can get into some of the details of the application itself. The application is available on the City of Delphi website. It's available on the City of Delphi Facebook page. If you don't want to do that, you can just email me at mayor@cityofdelphi.org. I'd be happy to send a copy out to you. Applications are due this Friday by 4:30 p.m. The selection committee consists of the city council members. They will be reviewing those and grading those next week, and we expect to have awards out the week of May 4th, hopefully with payments going to businesses by Thursday, May 7th. The application itself is very similar to what Flora has in terms of questions asked of the business owner. So you got to provide some contact information, number of employees prior to the pandemic, number of employees currently, some revenue figures, then some questions that will help guide us as we're scoring each business. Additional information will be identification, so just a copy of a driver's license, W-9, so if you do get awarded, we can pay you, and then a copy of a business entity report through the Secretary of State's office. Like Jake said, there's not sufficient time to get the full-fledged certified letter of good standing, but just a copy of a business entity report from the Secretary of State's office is good. There's more information on the application itself. I don't want to go into too much detail and bore you, but the application is available at www.cityofdelphi.org.
Okay. Mayor, I know a question that I've had, and Jake, this will apply to you too. What if it's a business that doesn't necessarily have employees, but they have their sole proprietor, or they have booth rent, say for instance, your salons and barbers where they're paying booth rent. They're not really labeled as employees and receive a W-2. How are you handling those?
Mayor Evans, you want to?
Go ahead.
Well, I at this point, as long as they're in good standing, I think our bottom line will be that they're in good standing and they're a business that's been verified through the Secretary of State. Employees, there is some subjectivity to it, but I wouldn't want to rule those individuals out from applying. With the quick turnaround, we're going to know we don't want to hinder their business plans. We don't want to hinder any of their planning and needs for capital. So I guess the bottom line on my end would be that to go ahead and get, if you need access to capital, and this is your quickest route, please apply, and then we can handle those. But I would say those individuals that you'd mentioned specifically, Julia, would be acceptable. And we would encourage them to apply.
Mayor, how about you?
I guess I can't say at this point whether they would be eligible or ineligible. I don't think we've fully flushed out that scenario yet. But I would encourage those individuals to apply. And then ultimately it will probably come down to the scoring rubric. Loss of employees is a scorable category. But there's other categories as well, including utility costs, increased costs due to social distancing or public health restrictions, whether or not they're able to pay rent, how long they've been in the community, whether they have a brick and mortar status, plans for the funds, and a couple other criteria. And so I would still recommend they apply. Now, they may be lower scoring than a traditional brick and mortar retailer, but at least they have an opportunity to get their application in.
So then if a salon, say, has, four or five stylists that all pay booth rent, should she or he label those four as employees on the application, or no? Probably Shane for you after seeing your application.
If they're not technically considered employees, then no.
Okay. Okay, but you definitely encourage them to go ahead and apply and explain their situation.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Another question that I've had is one business. There's a thing on, I know Delphi's application. Jake, I'm sorry, I haven't seen Flora to ask this, but one business does have a judgment against them and they're paying their former landlord. So it was a landlord dispute. And they're wondering if that would automatically disqualify them just because they are paying, they had a judgment against them and they're having to pay their former landlord. So, I mean, what do you say to something like that?
I would still encourage them to get an application in. It isn't too time consuming. We had somebody turn one in the next morning after we passed the resolution approving this. So I'd still have them get it in. At this point, once again, I can't say if it would be an automatic disqualifier, but it would definitely count against them on the scoring if it doesn't disqualify them completely. But I would still recommend take the hour or two and put an application together.
Okay. Okay, so how about from all of you on the phone call, who has a question? And you can go ahead and unmute yourself. Miracle, you and Omar have a question?
Yeah,
Yes.
it was me. I know what the governor is saying that we are on up till May 1st. Is that everybody, or is it going to be a slow process of opening who's the most essential? I mean, guys, I don't got no more money. I work for myself. You know what I mean? It's to the point where I'm not looking for a handout. I'm just looking to go back to work. You know what I mean? I put
So,
good.
you know, the governor's press conference is this afternoon, where I'm sure he will lay out the details more in depth as to what it means by extending till May 1st. I believe his press conference is normally at 2:30. I don't know if it'll be before that or not. I mean, it's speculation right now, but I think most of us think it's probably going to be, no change. It's going to be like this, unfortunately, till May 1st, and they'll do a slow rollout. But again, it's just speculation. We'll know more this afternoon, I think, when the governor lays out his plan.
Getting frustrating. That's all it is.
Yeah. Totally get it. Jess and Nate or Kathy, do you guys have questions for the mayor? Let me unmute you, Kathy. There we go.
I just want to say
Kathy,
thank you for, can you hear me?
Yep.
I just want to say thank you for the city and everyone to put something together for small businesses, which I think everyone is applauding this, and especially for it being a grant. My question was, on the front page of the application, we have booth rent and renters, and if that world is known, that is what pays our bills, our utility bills. And we have been around 25 some plus years. We're not going anywhere, just looking for just a little bit of help to, get through the next month or so, looking toward, like our renter, our booth rent, utility companies, just wanting to make sure that we are so sound. We want to come back to where we are, exactly what we were doing with different higher safety standards, which we were practicing very largely before. Just very much looking forward to. There's just a few query questions that on the application that we as a business, and a lot of, if other beauty shops are seeking this, which I'm pretty sure they are from conversations, that will not be able to answer in the way that the committee is exactly wanting answered. So just wanted everyone to take in mind that, some of the questions might not be able to be answered the way you wanted, but please feel free to reach out. Would be more than glad to take the time to try to help explain our industry, which we feel has been solid for many years in our community and greatly appreciated. We actually made it through the Stellar with no street, no sidewalks, gravel, green grass carpets running down. So if we can make it through that, we can all make it through this. But definitely submitting application, and thank you for taking the time to put this all together. My daughter had to fly in for me, or drive in real fast to be able to help me get on this Zoom. I am not that savvy. So appreciate your time, and I will try to answer the questions as closely as I can.
Yeah, and Kathy, that would be my recommendation, and any supplemental information that you can provide to help give the selection committee a better view of your business and how you guys operate, and why it is that you're applying, and maybe why you can't answer the questions in the way that maybe they should be answered. This isn't a perfect application. We stole most of it from the city of Noblesville. But businesses are so different, whether they're seasonal, whether they're like yours,
Yes.
that there isn't going to be one application that's perfectly tailored to all businesses. So any supplemental information you can provide, please do that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Again, thank you. And if there's any other input, please feel free to reach out, or we'll try and keep in contact with Julia also. So
I know this has nothing to do, but Kathy, whenever me and you can get together, I don't know how we're supposed to see each other or what we're supposed to do, but I got to make good with you. So whenever you're ready, it's that we're at that basis. You know what I mean? Every little dime that I've made, I put back. I can't spend anything else because not only am I worried about you, I'm worried about me. I'm worried about my wife that goes to work more than she has to. You know what I mean? So it's whenever, if any of you guys can use me or need me, I'm here. So just feel free to give me a call, and I'm available for anything. If it comes to handing out stuff, whatever, just hit me up.
You know me, Omar. I'm always looking out for everyone else. So that's why I'm trying to make sure this application includes everyone with a great explanation of how the bills do get paid in a small business, in a small community that has been around like a dinosaur in a rock forever. I mean, it's like, that's what we're here for. But can I just take a second to shout out to Miracle for still helping and working on that front line and
You hear that, baby?
being solid as, you know,
I
we
keep
don't,
telling her to slow
don't
down a little bit, but she's not. She just keeps going and going and going. And like you said, she's in the front line and it worries, but she's doing it. She said,
thank you, Miracle, for being there on that front line. We have our blue lights out and we're trying to support you all, but gosh, please be safe. Please be safe.
Yeah, definitely.
But thank you.
So
I'm trying. I'm doing what I can.
no,
Good.
thanks, Miracle. So Nate and Jess, how about you guys? Do you have any questions for the mayor about the application or what to expect?
No questions necessarily, but to echo what Kathy said, it's impressive to see two small towns like this coming together to support small businesses. It's Carroll County is already a great place to do business, but I think this just really magnifies it and will be kind of a key part to a bounce back and a key part in the story. So thanks again for taking the steps that you guys have.
Amen.
Yeah, nearly $400,000 between two communities is pretty fabulous. So yeah.
I
Takes
guess,
a lot of
Julia,
work
do you have anything? I believe the county council may have brought this up at a meeting last week about the potential for businesses outside of a municipality. Do you have any kind of a status on where they may be heading with that? Or not?
You know, you have a lot, obviously, in West Delphi, especially, that isn't technically in the corporate limits. I can't say I've necessarily had a lot of personal conversations, but it's tough. I know you had to start somewhere, you know, and you had to start with corporate limits, and I get that. And I think they probably get that too. But, you know, when you have businesses like that that identify as being a Delphi business, it's going to be tough for them. There's a lot, and you know that there's quite a few out there. So I don't know, it might be something to think about when you know, if you do a round two or if you don't give away all the money this time. So I appreciated that you did open it up though for nonprofits, because, you know, there are a few nonprofits too that, you know, operate a little different. So.
Okay.
And Julia, go ahead.
Do you know if the county is exploring the possibility of doing one for county businesses?
I've spoken with two of the county councilmen, and yes, they are talking about doing something. So certainly I hope that's an alternative, you know, that maybe those businesses can explore that, and the businesses in Camden and, you know, Deer Creek and, you know, Burlington and Yeoman. So, but right now I don't know where they're at. I had conversations with two of them on Friday. So I know they're working on something, but county council hopefully will be able to make something happen, but I'm not sure.
That happens, we'll be there with a big sign. So let me know when that meeting is.
Well,
Okay.
the good part is that I think with the framework that Mayor Evans and the town of Flora has put together, we'll be able to quickly stand up any program the county. From my perspective, I know Mayor Evans and I have a great relationship with the county. So if this is something they decide to go forward with, I think we'll both be pulling the sled in the same direction to help them get the program stood up and address which employers need assistance and where the help is greatest. So if there's any reassurance on that front.
Good. Good. Any more questions? Okay. Well, we'll certainly push out the applications for both communities again. I'll do a newsletter this afternoon after we hear from the governor, to see what his guidelines are. But both deadlines are Friday, so hopefully if anybody has any issues filling out the applications, I'm sure Jake and the mayor wouldn't mind if people reached out to you guys direct. So.
Not at all.
Okay. All right. Okay. Well, I've recorded this webinar, so we can share it out there with anybody else that that might have really needed to hear this, of some of the assistance that's available. And we'll continue to work with the county council and hope that there's some more assistance out there. So, and good luck to all of you that apply for the EIDL loans or the PPP loans too. I know across the country it's been slow, people getting any money. So let's hope. So, okay. All right, guys. Thank you. Have a great day.
Thank you, Julia.
Have a good one, guys.
Bye, guys.
Thank you, Julia.
See ya.